What is up, everybody on YouTube? Man, we are back. It's been a tough week. Probably could tell from my last video, I was battling a little bit of the flu. So probably not my best video in the past, but hope you forgive me for that. We're going to jump right into the 308 reloading, and I'm going to prove to you tonight what a big amateur I am. Never reloaded 308. I've got some components. I'm fortunate to have 50 pieces of brass already, and that's already polished. It is not deprimed. It is only polished. That's the only step that I've kind of jumped ahead to. Frankly, it's one of the most boring things that we do in this, at least that I do. So I'm not going to show you that right now. If somebody wants to see my little setup, hey, that's great. I'm happy to show it on another episode. But let's just say I got 50 pieces. 25 are marked FC for federal. I don't know if you can see that or if you can care to. And I have 25 pieces marked AFF, which I understand to be, and you probably can't see that any better than I can. That is Australian brass. It is apparently made at their #2 factory somewhere in Australia. And I'm interested to see the difference in how it reloads, how it performs in my gun. The gun that I'm going to be shooting this out of primarily is a 20-inch stainless steel AR-10 made by PSA. It's stock pretty much everything. Vortex scope. I'm happy to do some videos where we show how that performs. Vortex Diamondback. I'm happy to do that if that's something everybody thinks they would enjoy. I don't want to spend too long talking about all that, but let's jump right into this. But before we get into too far, I do want to say, if you're enjoying any of these videos, if you got anything out of them, maybe minus the last one, reach down there and hit the like, subscribe button. Really helps the show. Helps me. I really enjoy seeing other people enjoy what we're doing. I get a tremendous amount of fun out of this, joy out of it. And if you do too, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, tell somebody about it, and don't hesitate to comment. I mean, I'm just a hillbilly, so let us know what you're thinking, kind of what you want to see the show do. I'm having a good time, but if you want to see some guns, if you want to see how these reloads work in my guns, I'm happy to do that. I do want to thank some people for reaching out to me. A group out of, I believe it's Baltimore, a group called 21090 Brewing. Those guys got a way bigger channel than I do. I have no idea why they picked me to talk to, but they picked up on the review of the Evan Williams Bond and Barrel, and were quick to reach out to me. Great guys. I talked to them during their live stream, and they've been absolutely great. And so if you want to watch some guys that are really smart about bourbon, about beer, and you want to listen to some guys talk intelligently about some alcohol, man, go over there and listen to those guys. They're great guys. And they didn't tell me to tell you to say that. I just, that was just me hanging out with them a little bit on their live stream. One more person, and I'm gonna get to reloading. My friend Greg, he sent us a bottle of Bullet, and he thought nothing better to review on the show than Bullet, since that's half the name, right? So thank you, Greg. We're gonna get to that very, very soon. We're gonna try to let the beard get back in town, and maybe he's gonna do one with us. All right, so everybody knows my setup: RCBS Rock Chucker Supreme startup kit. I got the #3 shell holder, which I'm told is the right shell holder for this brass. Seems to be. Insert the shell holder per normal. Now, as everything that I've done so far has kind of had the same thing. This is not a carbide set, so I will have to case lube, and that's something we'll talk about in a minute. This video probably gonna run a little longer than normal. Hope you'll forgive me. Just keep that locking ring out of the way until you run it down, until it touches the ram, and the ram is in the complete up position. and that's taking a lot of throw. All right, we just touched right there. Lift the ram, they say then to turn it another 1/8 of a touch. Man, it is summertime down south, the bugs are already out. So we're gonna turn this thing approximately another 1/8 of a turn. That's about an 1/8 of a turn. We're gonna lock it down real gentle like in case we have to come back. Now this is the decapping and sizing pin or node of the die. Now, one thing that is completely particular or different about reloading, especially bottleneck cases, is you have to lubricate the cases. Now, there's about 1,000,000 ways to lubricate cases, and apparently all of them are better than this case lube number 2 from RCBS. But this is what came with the kit. I have not upgraded that yet. I do have some plans. I want to buy some lanolin, 100% lanolin, mix that with 95% or 90% alcohol. And from all the guys that are supposed to know what they're talking about, that is the best case lube going. But we're just going to get started right now. We're going to put a little of this. It is thick. Oh my God, it is thick. We're going to put some of this on the case pad or the lubricating pad just the way they say. Probably going to make a mess. But that's the name of the game sometimes, I guess. And we're just going to do a couple of cases to get started, just show everybody how I understand the sizing and depriming is supposed to go. Now let me step off just a minute and get a paper towel. I know these are precious commodities right now during the Kung flu. Speaking of which, I hope everybody's safe and sound. Nobody's getting sick. We're going to start out with our Federal brass. I trust it a little more just because I know Federal and I don't know this AFF brass. We'll spread this out on the pad a little bit. I've seen other guys do it, where they do 5 or 6 at a time. I haven't ever done this, so this is going to be my first attempt. And they say not to get it on the case neck, so I'm going to go slow. Apparently, if you get it on the case neck, you can cause some dents. So there's 2. Let's try it like the pros do. I see them rolling 2 at a time. Infer from that what you will. We're going to roll 2 of them right there real fast. I think that's got them. They both feel pretty slick. And then, again, unique in my experience is you have to get some of this case lube down in the neck. And I will tell you, any other method's got to be better than this. This shit is sticky. Probably don't need to get rid of that just yet. We're going to put a little more on here. We have to get some on the case neck brush to get that down in the case neck. I don't want to overdo it, but man, we don't want a stuck case on our first show, right? Set that aside if we can, and then apparently we're just supposed to swab that out. We're going to do these first 5 cases, and then we're going to see if we can size and deprime these 5 cases. If we can, we're going to call that a pretty good show. And it says about every 3 cases you gotta do that again. So I am really determined. I do not want a stuck case. So I guess it happens, and it's no fun. So I don't want that. All right. So the necks are lubricated. Cases are lubricated. Now we can set that aside and we can see if we can figure this out. So we think we got this, I think we got the case size and die set properly. Hope everybody can see. I do promise we're going to change things around. We can get a camera in here pretty soon. My birthday's coming up, and if I'm hoping that's when we're going to find one under a bush outside or something. All right, here we go. We're going to try this and see what happens. All right, I am getting a ton of resistance right there, so I don't know what the hell is going on. Again, I told you I was going to be a complete amateur at this. Oh. All right, little pause there while I was trying to figure this out. I told you I've never done this before, but it seems like maybe the had to reset the sizing node, the internal part that decaps and resizes the inside. So that was I did do one while I was away. There is considerably much more force required to do this than the pistol case. I'm sure that probably only makes sense, but we're just going to keep going with these 5 cases. And you can see that I'm actually having to put a little force behind it, but some of these case mouths are a little deformed. I hope you can see that. It's not terrible, but it is a little deformed, so it'll be interesting to see how round or concentric it comes out. And there's a lot of resistance on the downstroke. I don't really know where that's coming from, but it really trued up the mouth. So we'll do one more. And it really fights you on the way out, so I'm a little surprised by that. But that's 5 cases we've done right there. Trying to keep these videos short, so everybody doesn't really, you don't get bored. I'm gonna do one more since I did one off camera and kind of got my bearing a little bit, but I was thinking today earlier that I'm really with my 308, I'm really not saving that much money reloading. It's really as much, and I hoped I would. I'm pretty, some would say, I like to say I'm frugal. Others might say I'm cheap. I had hoped I would be saving some money. Turns out I'm probably not going to be saving very much money, especially on 9mm, maybe a little bit on 308, but that depends on the type of components, and we'll go into that just in a second. Let's see if we can get one more to do the way it's supposed to. Primers are popping out, and we do get that little bit of resistance on the way out. But that's 6 cases right there, and they all seem to be working okay. So I think we got that part figured out. All the primers are popping out. I do really need to upgrade this because this is not a very good system, I'll be honest with you. But what we're going to be loading in is once fire brass. It's all range brass. A friend of mine, Scott, was kind enough to gather for me, give me. But we're going to be loading a middle charge of IMR 4895, and I'm pretty excited about this. I don't normally shoot nice bullets, factory stuff. So what we're going to be shooting is 165 grain Hornady SSTs. Now I know for a lot of you old timers who've been loading a long time, this is no real big deal. But if you can see those, it's got a polymer tip. It's supposed to really help not only with the ballistic coefficient, but but I'm really looking forward to loading these, seeing how they act in my gun, and looking forward to hearing what everybody thinks of the process, how it's coming along. Again, hit that like, subscribe, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking. And very next show, or at least the one after that, we're going to be opening up that bullet. We're going to give it a real honest review. Greg, again, thank you. 21090 Brewing, thank you guys for stopping in. All my friends, thank you guys for supporting me. And all the new subscribers, I really appreciate the effort it takes to reach down there, because I've done it 1,000 times. Said, oh, that was a pretty good video, and just click on to the next one. But just stopping for a moment really makes a difference. I hope you guys stay safe. Don't get too caught up in this this coronavirus deal. Use good practices, wash your hands, and I'm sure we as Americans are going to come through this just fine. Y'all have a good night. I'll see you on the next one.